problems plain to see. Too much technology. Machines
Amen.
save your lives. Machines dehumanize. Was that right?
Fantastic. You nailed it. We didn't even have to answer that question already, so we're already past that. That's beautiful.
Yes. We're so
Synergy.
sorry for the Sox hat. Are you a Tigers fan?
Yeah. Well, we're going to be seeing a lot of each other this year, apparently, if they do this baseball thing, right?
Oh, Lord, I don't know what's going on. Don't ask me. This morning, are we recording right now, I hope?
Yeah, we're recording right now. Yes, sir.
Here's what happened to me this morning. I wake up, my sweatpants storm in the room and demand that I wash them. You know what?
Once a week, whether they need it or not.
Week? Cut it out. A month. Anyway, my wife says the 6-foot distancing thing must be obeyed in our house. I said, really? Yeah, and even during sex. And she said it's never been better. Tough times for everybody in the world.
Got to work the room, man. I see the records behind you, and we were listening to the new album last night. And dude, with all due respect, that is loud. That's a great song, man. Where did that come from?
Well, the impetus of that song was for the American populace who are being forced to get their news in partisan ways, even though they don't want it. Now, there's some who want it. Let me watch that channel because they're nuts over that way. Or let me watch this channel because they're equally crazy over there. But here's what's happening. And it's been happening steadily. And that's that the American media, particularly with cable news and talk radio, not just cable, even the broadcast news, they've lied to us and pretend that they don't have some sort of partisan agenda. They do.
Right. Well, Dennis, here's the thing.
Wait, let me finish this.
Go ahead, finish your thought, please.
They have created political theater to sell you stuff. They don't really care about the news regarding how it affects the well-being and the health of American democracy. They've chosen a path that says, let's take these fanatics over here, these fanatics over here, and stick them together, cause friction, antagonist, protagonist, depending on how you look at it. And then this stuff comes across the airways as if it were nonpartisan. Now, the both of them, let's take the two big ones, can we?
Sure.
Fox, CNN. True?
True. Absolutely.
Okay. They're full of shit. Both of them. They have a direct link to a point of view and a political party. That's not what we need. It's not what I want. I don't mind them being there. Where do you go just to get some kind of straight news the way you used to get it in this country? I don't know. And I get mad every night I look at these so-called experts. And because they have to fill 24 hours of time, you know that the totem pole of experts is pretty low at some point. These people just show up and they go, authoritatively tell us what we should be thinking. And I just think, who in God's name are you? Why are you on this TV set? Look at, and Edward R. Murrow, does this sound like a Walter Cronkite? Or any number of them. They all had a slight bend either way.
Right.
But it was harnessed. Now, the news media, including print, is hell-bent on causing controversy because it gets people like you and me to watch the WWF, which is all it is. And what is it? It's to the detriment of our democracy and to the fiber of our civil society because they make everything seem like everybody hates each other. Now, I don't know about you. Let me finish. I'll get off this. I don't know about you.
No, I love it. Keep going.
These political parties, I go, hey, I'll take some from column A. I'll take some from column B. I can't go 100% with either of them because they seem like, well, lunatics. All right? Where is the political party, the representation? And I talk to a lot of people, and you're going to agree with me, that feel like, wait a minute, maybe I lean a little bit more this way than that way, okay? Okay, maybe I want the chiffon, maybe I want the leather. I don't know. It's up to you. But fundamentally, we would like to hear the closest thing to facts without human interruption as possible, and with all due respect, addresses that issue, and in 4/4 time with a lot of guitars. Yeah,
But and even the title, with all due respect, Dennis, it's always something that in our lives, when you go to, it's a way to insult somebody, but to qualify it first. With all due respect, your wife's ugly. With all due, you know what I mean? With all due respect, the White Sox suck. I mean, it's like a qualifying statement. Well, if I said with all due respect, I can say anything I want.
Here's the deal. I always tell people never pay attention to anything that's said by anyone before the word but.
That is a great. I owe you $1. I'm stealing that one. That's a great way to look at it. You're right.
I'll take 15% on the back end.
Okay. Yeah, we're terrestrial radio, so the $1's a better bet.
There it is. And I'm sick of it because it was okay when it wasn't fundamentally ruining our country, but it is. And so my anger in that song, because really, I'm the guy that wrote Babe, but my anger in that song is going to connect with the people that listen to your show. Play it, I dare you.
Yeah, we're going to play it. Absolutely.
I gave you the sanitized version.
Yeah, no, we love it. We love it, Dennis. But that's rock and roll music is supposed to be about a statement, though, isn't it? I mean, rock music at its core, you're the power of it. When you guys are dialed in, that's what it should be.
Here's what I would say to you. You just opened up a giant can of worms on both of us. Because I'm way older than you. God knows. Better looking, but way older, Jim.
Right. Yeah, that's a given.
Goes without saying. So listen to me. I was there when rock and roll was invented. You know, I'm born in 47. I heard it. I saw it. Initially, it had nothing to do with changing the world. With all due respect to Bruce Springsteen, that was fundamentally invented during the late 60s by people who started to write about it. Oh, we're going to protest against the man. Oh, rock stars are in the work. Bullshit. Rock stars are the man. They sign a recording contract with a multinational corporation, and the first thing they do is figure out how much money they make per unit sold. So originally, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, who just passed, God bless his heart, Elvis, Jerry Lee.
All about women, wasn't it? It's all about chasing women.
Dancing.
Yeah.
Having fun. Hey, where are the chicks? This is what it's about. It's about teenage thought process, not about the big political, oh, we got to change the world because when I play this chord and say these angry words, the world changes. Bullshit. I've never seen a song yet change the world. Sorry. It doesn't happen. So I'm saying to you, when you say rock and roll, fundamentally kind of developed in that. If you want real credibility with people who write about music, then you've got to be some kind of rebel. Which is why John Landau taught Bruce Springsteen exactly where to tear his jeans. Okay, but that's the grand illusion, Jimbo. That's facade. I told my audience in 1976, don't be fooled by the radio, the TV, or the magazines. They'll show you photographs of how your life should be. They're just somebody else's fantasies. So if you think your life is complete confusion because you never win the game, remember it's a grand illusion. And what we know right now is deep inside. We are all the same. Whether you're sitting in the audience or looking at these goofball with long hair and tight pants up on the stage, we're in this together. Can I get off my soapbox now?
No, I love it. You stay there all day. But so when you were, that's what I was going to ask you then. You just touched that point though. When you write, who are you writing to? Are you speaking to that person in the crowd that we hope to one day get back to seeing you live and in concert here? Or are you writing to your wife? Are you talking to yourself? Who are you writing to?
Here's my definition. I'm just a kid with an accordion. That's all I really am. And I don't care how many people say nice things about me. That's how I view myself. Okay. And what I do is I look around, I search for chords. I find the ones I like. Then I put notes on them that I think are good. And then I think of lyrics to stick on the notes. And I give you my POV of my personal life and what I see around me in the world, hoping that you, Jim, will find yourself in my story. That's all. I tell you my story, and I believe, because deep inside we're all the same, you're going to find yourself in it. When I do it right, millions are willing to join me. And when I do it wrong, they're not. It's not more complicated than that. I don't know the answers. Most of my songs are presenting scenarios. Show me the way, whatever it is, Rockin' the Paradise. I'm saying, okay, Sweet Man of Blue, all these things where I talked about things that are not love related, because I've been married 50 years to the same woman. I know love. So when I write about it, it's genuine. It's from my experience. Now, I know there are people, rock people, who are, dedicated to the idea of more testosterone is the only answer. Good for you. I don't trust you. I want people who have open minds, a broad range in tastes, so I can do more than one thing. I love AC/DC, particularly with Bon Scott. Okay, but I need more than that. So in my life and in my career, I've absolutely dedicated myself to trying to tell my story musically the best I can. There was quite a while there, the Millions joined me on that crusade with my band. I never did it all by myself. But when you're asking what I was doing, when I told the guys, what do you think of the concept of the Grand Illusion? They jumped on board. What do you think of the idea of Pieces of Eight? They jumped on board. Paradise Theater, then Kilroy. Oh, some of them jumped on board. So, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know shit. I don't claim to.
Yes,
Listen to my opinions if you like it. If you don't, Talking Heads is available.
Hey, Return to Paradise Theater was one of the first concerts I can remember where I got lost in the moment. The staging, the whole thing, the way you guys did that. I forgot I was with 15,000 other people, if that makes any sense at all. I just was in the moment listening to the music and the story and the way you guys presented that. At the time, you just didn't see that.
We succeeded then, Jim, if that's what you felt. Because
you did.
What the band was, listen, I just did this video to the good old days, and I had to look through all these home movies, because Julian Lennon, were supposed to be in the video together. Pandemic, no. Okay, so what do I do now? What are them 6 weeks late on this video? So you should see my house. There are photographs strewn in every room, VHS tapes, Super 8s, this aid, that, trying to find my life story, because that's really what the song is about. And so I'm thinking, how do I deliver this message? And so I did all this work to put the video together, and it defines what I'm trying to do. I'm telling you, it's my story I'm telling you. But you and I, Jim, we're different, but we share such commonality. And that's why I'm saying one more time, Americans, we don't have to agree on everything. That's the point of democracy.
Right.
That's what the founding fathers had in mind. When I write in that song on this album, to the promise of this land, this has never been the promised land. The people who wrote this stuff down were flawed individuals, just like us. But it's a blueprint, an ideal that we must aspire to. And we have to understand we can't always have our own way. Holding my breath. These imbeciles. Now, any idiot can look and say politically, well, maybe 35% here, 35% there. They're locked down. All right? I don't care. But what about all of us? We have to come together at some point, because nobody has a majority. It's a pluribus unum. From the many, one. That's the ideal that we should be shooting for. We can't just say, oh, it's my way. I'm holding my breath till I get it. I don't care how angry you get. All right? This is the problem with people. Plenty. But let me just say this. Anybody out there married or in a relationship? Jesus, you got to figure out a way to coexist with that person in your life.
I tell my kid, hey, Dennis, I tell my kids, I've been married 27 years, not 50, 27. And I tell my kids all the time, you better pick the hill you want to die on. I mean, you can't fight every battle. Sometimes you just got to drop it and move on. But you're right. I mean, to fight over everything, especially now, it's got to be fatiguing for people. I don't know how people do it.
How in God's name are they politicizing the greatest threat to human beings since I've been born? That's why I had to write With All Due Respect. And you know what I said to these people? No, you can't do that. We don't have the luxury right now to, to walk down that path. And will people change? I always said this: people always change 24 hours after it's too late. That's when they change. I'm praying that it's taught me. This thing has taught me that okay, my tour was canceled. Here's it, look, Jim. I released my first single from an album I worked on for 2.5 years on the 3rd of March. On the 5th of March, the WHO, and I don't mean Townsend and Daltrey, the WHO said, pandemic. I thought, that's pretty good timing. So, but you know what I thought right away? Tours canceled. I thought, and my record company's in Italy. Okay. But you know what I thought? What the hell does my little shit-ass record have to do with anything? I mean, in the scheme of things, enough with the frivolities, enough with all the distractions. And so I just sat back and said, this is calamitous. Forget about coughing your lung up. How about the damage this is doing financially to everybody in the world? And I just said, man, this is too serious for me to be worrying about my little record.
And we had, you had a date here in Taylor, Michigan, here in Detroit. We had we were, I think it was in August, right?
I love that. I love playing there. Listen, Detroit has been so kind to me and to Styx from like 1975 on. They just have, from the Ford Theater. Remember the Ford Theater?
Yeah.
To Cobo, to Joe Louis, to the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And I just look at it and I think, well, that'll have to wait, won't it, Dennis? Yeah, bigger fish to fry.
But don't downplay music. Music is comfort food for people. We did a thing where we asked people for their comfort tunes. Not just, we asked celebrities and musicians, and Joe Walsh shared some of his, and not just in the classic rock vein, but just music in general. And the best of times, look, we had almost 1 million views on YouTube of that. I mean, people want something. It's comfort food. We eat Coney dogs here in Detroit, but that song and what you do and to the good old days, to me, is comfort food. It just feels good to listen to. I like it.
I'll tell you the story. I had some fans come on my Facebook page, and if you go to my Facebook page, kids, that's me. There's no stooges, no bots. I write messages. If you want to
Really?
know,
Okay.
You just read me. You read what those posts are written by me. I read every goddamn comment. Shouldn't have said that.
Boop. Okay, you're good. No lightning. You're good.
So here's the story. Dennis, we need your music now more than ever. And I thought to myself, I'll take a vaccine. That was my first thought. And then I thought, okay, on a lark, I said, I'll go and I'll do one of these things that all these needy celebrities have gotten themselves into. I better connect with human beings. Otherwise, maybe the light that shines on me will dim. Too cynical? Anyway, I put my piano's out of tune. Not horribly, but for me, it's out of tune. I put my iPad on the piano. I'm stacking boxes. There's a thing that's on the dresser that holds this just to get it at the right angle that I can sing, because you got to when it's just the iPad, it sits on the piano, which means the piano is going to be loud. So that's why I lean in all the time, because I want to be nice to be heard. So I think, well, this is awful. I listen to it. This is awful. I get a friend of mine to post to YouTube, because I don't know how to do it. And it goes up. He says to me, you should have your own YouTube channel. Don't be ridiculous. This is going to get 5,000 people. I'm going to do this work for it? No. It'll be 1 million in 24 hours. In 4 weeks. Who am I? Taylor Swifty? That shit doesn't help me. I looked and the first day we put it up, it was doing this. I guess they call this trending. Well, Jim, the last time I trended is when I had a mustache, and I didn't even invent that. So here it's going. I'm looking at the numbers and I'm going, how about how many doors that thing has opened for me? How many people have called for me to do Zooms? Rachel Ray, Extra, Axe, it goes on and on and on. I did Gilbert Gottfried for 2 hours day before yesterday. What I'm saying to you is, then I read the comments. The controversy with me and Styx.
Yeah.
that crap that Tommy and JY created by replacing me. They turned this beautiful fan base against each other by getting rid of me. That's what's happened. So
With all due respect, kind of another version of that.
All right, so now I start reading these comments. There's almost 7,000 comments. I'm trying to read them all. I'm sitting there. First day I read them, I had to stop. I'm choked up because I'm thinking, who do these people think I am? They're attributing things to me that are far beyond my comprehension. Saying things so nice, so heartfelt, that I see my name in the sentence. But I think, that's me they're talking about? Now listen, I have an ego. I didn't get here by being a wallflower. But when strangers say what they said about me in those posts, I just was going, and usually you're going to get every 4, 5, 10 women going, he's a poo-poo face. I hate him. I never liked, he ruined the band. But
right.
That's almost completely missing from these 7,000. So you're going to ask me, don't ask me a question about anything. Kids, everything I've said so far, ignore because I don't know shit. It just happened to me.
So let me ask you the comfort tunes, because like that song is comfort tunes for a lot of people. Obviously, they're the response. Outside of your own music, is there music that soothes you? A song.
I can tell you my favorite songs, but in times like this, I guess I'm too much a victim of being in this business for 50 years and making music as a livelihood. And,
right.
So if I was to come to Detroit, people were going to come up to me if they get to meet me and tell me late 40s, 50s, 60s, how much what I helped create with the band and on my own has affected their lives in a positive way. Heartfelt stories. And you think to yourself, what? No, Jim, you get overwhelmed because I think when I was doing it, I was serious about it, but I was just trying to kick Queen and Foreigner's ass. That's what I was trying to do.
That was your goal.
I meant, come on, you son. We're in the ring.
You got Lou Graham. Yeah.
We're in that competitive ring. That's what it was. And now to hear this, like all these years later, I go, if I ain't the luckiest guy in the face of the earth, I'm 73, have people come up to me and say, Dennis, you changed my life. You did. I thought, now I'm not the only guy on the planet who's a musician who hears these stories. But when I hear them, I think, whoa, I'm still Dennis DeYoung from 26th to 101st place with an accordion trying to make his mom happy. That's who I am.
Can you listen to music and just enjoy it? Or because of your 50 years, like you said, do you tend to rub the fur off a teddy bear? Do you know what I mean? Like you listen to it differently than we do.
Yeah, you start making albums, producing, mixing them. You are cursed then with listening to things that should never matter. You know, people who mix records go, oh, the kick drum. Who's listening? People not listening to the kick drum. Oh, there should be 3K on the kick drum. This is paralyzing. If I go back and listen to the early records that made me excited, that I accepted on a little earpiece in my ear in mono with a transistor radio under my pillow, hiding it from my parents, and I listen to that now as this old fart, judging it, I'll be judging it differently. Don't like it because I don't want to. I want to experience it as I did as a naive young man who when he heard the music, the whole world was open to him because of it.
So 26 East Volume 1, should we listen to this track by track in order, or can we jump around in the shuffle world that we live in?
This was designed because I didn't want to make this record. My buddy Jim Peterick from Survivor and Ides of March, he nagged me like a shrew.
Oh, he's very proud of goading you into this. He brags about it a lot. He's very happy that he got you to do this, and so are we. But yeah, he's very proud of this.
Yeah, good for him. He lives 3 blocks from me. That's why I'm community. Anyway, did you know this? Did you know his purple hair? He was born with that. And when his mom saw it, she was just horrified. So she started dyeing his hair brown until recently he left it go purple. No, Jim is I always say, if you love this album, it was my idea. If you hate it, it was Jim Peterick's.
Jim's idea. That makes sense. Okay.
Look, it's an experience. It is not a song by song. I wrote it as a listening, the way albums used to be listened to.
Right.
It is the unfolding of whatever was running around in my brain.
Like Unbroken, I mean, like East at Midnight, and then you get in With All Due Respect, so you really like jump into people, and then coming back to like 80-20-20. What is that? I mean, where did that come from? Because it comes on right after the Julian Lennon song.
Well, right from the beginning, when I decided to do this, because Jim sent me Run for the Roses unfinished, because he was bugging me, and he sent me that song. I said, well, that don't suck. So I said, let's see if we can finish the song. We did, and before we knew it, we had 8 songs, because we're the same, we're Southside guys from Chicago, around the same age. I'm way better looking, but still, we have so much in common. And then we had fun. It was an effortless collaboration. But he sent me that song. I said, let's do it. So I have to say this right now. I forgot the question.
80-20-20, the last track, because it kind of comes right out of the Julian Lennon and the feel of that. Where's that coming from? Where there's something you wanted to do?
I said from the very beginning, because this was only supposed to be one album, wasn't supposed to be volume 1 and volume 2. One album, let me get out of here. I don't need this anymore. Yeah, I'm done. We did 18 songs, recorded them, and the record company said, can't put them all on one, and we want them all. I said, oh, Jesus. But there was money involved, Jim. So I said, okay. They said we want to call it volume 1 and I want to do volume 1 and volume 2. I would have said this one and that one. They didn't like that. So from the beginning, I said 2020 will be me going like this. That's all, folks. Thanks to all you people out there who have given me this privileged life by sharing my musical thoughts with you. I wanted to put, if I'm doing it, that's it. And then of course they said 2 volumes, and then I went, oh, I don't care. I'm going to put this idea on the first one. Who knows? A pandemic could hit. I wanted it out there. I didn't want to take any chances. So yeah, and you know what? If you're a Styx fan and you hear that and you don't get a lump in your throat, you weren't a Styx fan.
Right. Okay, so that's what I was kind of getting towards is, yeah, it's got that vibe. You can't end now, though. You can't leave. We're just figuring out this. We'll get a cure. We don't have concerts, Dennis. We can't just leave this sitting there like that. You got to play some gigs when you walk off, right?
I'd like to. I had a whole tour booked. We had 10,000 CDs sold. In this day, that's like 1 million sold up front, because people in Detroit bought a ticket, got a CD. Now, all these people, they're owed a CD. I have no way to give it to them because it's going to be given to them in person.
Right.
At the show. Yeah, I want to tour. But, I tell everybody my new tour manager is the CDC. Let me know how that works. Because the CDC and the WHO and the NFL and the QRST-USB, all these people, they're afraid to say this. I don't know what's going on. And everybody who jumps in here and says they know something, they're lying. They're lying. Nobody knows. People are scared, rightly so, because people don't know what's going on right now. I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm okay. Watch it. Coughing up a lung 20 minutes later, because human beings, have I said, there's something wrong with them. I understand why people want to go out and have a life and go back to their jobs and provide for their family. All absolutely reasonable. And I also say, well, on the other hand, we don't want to be dead on the way to that.
Yeah.
So people don't know. They don't know where it came from. And with the way news is handled these days, Jim, have we talked about this? We're screwed. And yeah, go ahead. Your turn.
No. I was going to say, what do you think about? I saw there was I think it's in Arkansas, where they're going to do like a concert with maybe 100 or 200 people out there. They're going to have them all in little pods. It looks like you're going to be playing a sound check. Would you even want to do? I mean, not now, but even if someone says, okay, it's safe, you can play, but we're only going to load up the amphitheater with 200 people instead of 1,500. I
guess my concern would be the airplane in the hotel room.
Right. Yeah.
It's not play. I think I could probably get through that. I got a decent voice. Doesn't sound good through a mask.
Yeah.
Microphones, they're always on your mouth. This is stuff we don't want to think about. None of us. But like I said, from the beginning, take the vaccine. That's what I'll take. Once that, and they're going to get it, because unlike cancer or psoriasis, right, or urinary tract infections, everybody's going to get this if they're not careful. And everybody's actually in this mess together. Now, right. I'm a celebrity that's going to say, oh, we're all in this together. We're all in the same boat. You celebrities and rich people who say that, shut up. We may be if we're all in the same boat, some boats are bigger.
You mean from their farm in Ireland when they tell you that they feel your situation? You're like, yeah, I don't think you do. Yeah.
Look, I hate when people say they feel somebody's pain. We can empathize to a degree or sympathize, whichever one. But really, man, it's like my definition of going to the hospital. Better looking down than looking up.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I owe you another $1 for that one too, Dennis. Damn it. I'm going to be broke by the end of this interview.
I need money. I can't tour.
Oh, he'll be out there. You can't leave it like this, though. You got to go. Oh, you got to come back here to Detroit. Come on. We got to get you back here one more time at least. When all is said and done, when we're all good, we got to get you back here.
I'll be there.
Okay.
I didn't want to not be on tour. I have my album. What am I doing? I'm in my house, you know. My wife says, you again? Anyway.
Hey, we found we were going through, we have a concert database here. You mentioned Kobo. We found all the gigs, like there were a couple nights, I think in 78, where you guys had like 3 nights in a row. And there's these amazing early gigs. Like you guys opened for Roxy Music.
First time in Detroit.
There you go. See, I was wondering if you remember that. That's cool.
How can I forget it? My first thought was, who's Roxy Music? Anyway, we go out there. We're a pretty good rock and roll band. And we just signed with A&M Records. And Bob Garcia, a good friend from A&M, who was the head of A&R, he was there, to help us through. And we played the show. We were great because we were really a very good band. You have to understand, a lot of your listeners probably don't know that Styx made their first album in 1972. That's a year before Queen. When we came up with the sound that we had never heard. I never heard Queen till 1975 when she made some shine down, and I heard it. Oh, that's a great band. But because we're in a local record company called Wooden Nickel, that says it all, Jim. We toiled in anonymity in the city of Chicago. Nobody even knew who we were. So by the time we got to Detroit with Roxy Music, we were just a great rock and roll band on stage. And I loved that gig, but I was anxious, to play in front of our own audience. It took time because it was 7 albums before we really completely broke worldwide with The Grand Illusion. So that's a long time in music time. So yeah, I love Detroit. Look at Joe Louis Arena. Oh man, everything. Kobo was a great place.
Yeah.
Ooh, energy. Great.
Pine Knob, playing Pine Knob at the good amphitheater.
The great amphitheater sounds great in there, and the people in Detroit, in that Michigan area, they want to have a good time.
Yeah, we do.
A lot of, like me, I come from a blue collar working class area in Chicago. The Styx guys. My dad was the Panazzo brothers. Their dad worked at U.S. Steel. That's all we knew. So Detroit's that.
Well, you're the band that we want, because that was I've always thought that there's similarities with what you guys and your energy. And think about what Seger. Seger was this blue-collar guy from Detroit, and he would play a lot of gigs in Chicago. John Landecker has tapes of interviews with him. He'd drive back and forth between Chicago and Detroit, and you guys would come here, and we would gravitate to you because we appreciated how hard you worked on stage, and you were a straightforward, tight rock band, which is what we wanted to hear, a blue-collar band.
Here's my Seger story. I don't know if I've ever talked to him. We played together. And I remember one time, I don't know where it was. It was hot. It was outdoors. It was really hot. And we were playing ahead of Bob Seger. So it was this one, then Seger. So he went on before us. This is before
Right.
He became Bob Seger. And I saw him sitting off to the side of the stage after his show. And he was great. He's Bob Seger. That's it. That's it. Bob Seger. End of story. Sweating, just like drenched, right? Because he was a maniac. He put everything into it. And I looked at him, and he was so dejected after this great performance, probably thinking, why are these goofball sticks ahead of me? I think it might have been in Michigan somewhere. I don't know. Can't remember. It's in the Midwest. And that was my impression was. I thought, yeah, he probably. Anyway, and then like a year later, what was it? Night Moves? Is that the one that just blew the whole door up?
Yeah, that would be the one. Yeah, Live Bullet, Night Moves, right around there. Yeah.
Then we were back in a Bob Seger. Anyway, that's my Seger story.
Now, I do have this kind of correlates. I was thinking about this. Seger tells us a great story here that his worst gig was he and Ted Nugent wound up playing together in a cave in Iowa. Did I lose you, Dennis? There we are.
I'm here.
Oh, there we are. You said the video froze up for a second. That's okay.
Yeah.
So they were playing in a cave together, and it was a cave, like a bowling alley cave. And Nuge told him just play loud. So they actually wound up doing a gig in a bowling alley in a cave. Do you ever have any stories like that, like a place where you just look back and go, "What the hell was that?"
How long is this show?
The floor is yours. We got nowhere to go. We're quarantined. What am I going to do? Go into the den?
Too many to recollect. I mean, you have to be successful, folks, kids. Because listen, you wonder why I always call my fans kids. If you're still listening to me talk or play music, I don't care how old you are. You're a kid at heart. That's it. We're all grown-up kids wandering the earth, looking for a pat on the shoulder, having somebody say, "You're not so bad after all." So, the biggest secret to success is perseverance. You know this. Come on, Jim. I mean, how many times did somebody swat you like a fly?
Keep going forward. What's that saying from Rocky Balboa? It's not how hard you get hit, it's how hard you can get hit and get up. Yeah, you just keep going forward.
Where do you think fooling yourself came from? Get up, get back on your feet. You're the one they can't beat, and you know it.
Was that you right to you?
That's Tommy. That's Rocky.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what? Okay, never made that connection. And I'm an idiot for doing it. Never. So that was Rocky Balboa. Okay.
And so yeah, I could. It's boring, Every story is like. I remember. Oh God, I told this yesterday because I was talking to St. Louis. We got booed twice in our entire career. Once in St. Louis at Kiel, and one time in New York at a theater. I can't remember the name. It's probably torn down. Listen to this. I'll say no more. Here was the bill. Straub's. What? And then the band before us. Bebop Deluxe. Who? And then us. Okay. So we're first. And we start to play Lady, and the PA is just Lady. You know what I mean? Well, it continues through the whole set. And so like 4 songs in, people are just booing. They're not booing us. But, people think, oh, that's that band's gear. What do they know? It's not our gear. It's to somebody's gear, not ours. And the other time we were playing with Frank Zappa at Kiel, about 10,000 seat room. Nobody told little Frankie that the glam rockers of the Midwest were going to show up and play. He thought it was an evening with Zappa. The promoter didn't tell him. Was he happy? Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
He didn't suffer fools gladly. He was screaming at the promoter, and there we are, the boys with glittery tops and 3-inch platforms. Perfect. We were everything Frank was making fun of. Anyway, he allowed us 3 microphones, 1 for each vocalist. No amps or drums could be mic'd. Well, if you've ever heard a big auditorium with no microphones on the amps or drums, this is what you hear. So people, they're all different. So they booed up. Other than that, we never got. But there's a million stories where you play places where you go. You know, did we see this one time? It was, the Spinal Tap thing about puppet show.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that with a magician.
Come on, you had a magician open for you?
It was the headliner was Jean-Luc Ponty. Who? Never mind. Jean-Luc Ponty, Styx, magician.
Wow. And what?
Bebop Deluxe. You probably don't know who the hell Bebop Deluxe is, do you?
It's an '80s band, right? Wasn't it kind of a
70s?
Okay. Jean-Luc Ponty, though, a magician. At what point did one of you guys look at the bill and go, "Are we really playing after a magician?"
No, we actually went on before the magician, which was.
You were on before the magician. Okay.
But we were on the same bill. You know, it's like a Styx, Bachman, Turner, Overdrive, and Elephant shit. I mean,
now that's an '80s band name right there. Absolutely, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's countless these stories, and any musician could tell them to you.
That's what I'm saying. You're not done. You're not done. I know what you're saying, Dennis, but you're not done. You're having too much fun. Your music sounds great. You're not done.
Tell me about my album, for God's sakes. You just heard it last time. You finally got it?
I love it. Yeah, we did. We'll listen to the whole thing. 26 East Volume 1. It's available next Friday, the 22nd, but you're going to love it. And what's cool, like you said, is it's not just one. There's so many things. I wrote down notes. Run for the Roses. Damn That Dream is awesome. To the Good Old Days of You and Julian Lennon. That's the first time. You've known him for years, right? Because there's no way you just do something like that.
So this being my last album, 26 East is the
last album. Yeah.
26 is the address of my parents' house, where John Panazzo, Chuck Panazzo, and I, in 1962, went into the basement, me with my accordion, Chuck with the guitar, John with his drums, and formed a wedding band. This is 2 years before the Beatles. So the modern rock and roll band had not been invented yet. We were trying to make our parents happy, playing their music, standards, 30s, 40s. La, 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 lee, lee, lee. Saw the Beatles in 64. We went 2964. That's the opening line of a song I wrote called Hello, Goodbye for the last album. It'll be on volume 2. When I this 29 back in 64. I watched it all from my front room door. I watched the Beatles getting ready to go to a dance at 7 o'clock Central Time, and my life was changed. So I thought, I'll write a Beatles song for my last record. I'll just write a Beatles song. And then I thought, I wonder if Julian Lennon would sing this with me. So I listened to it one last time. I wrote up this nice email. I said, no, he can't sing this. This is my story, but why would he be singing these words?
Right.
But I started thinking, Julian Lennon. I went to the piano, wrote To the Good Old Days. I thought about his voice and my voice. Because remember, Volat in 1984 was the same year.
Fantastic album. Track for track. Fantastic album.
I bought it.
Yeah. Great album.
Desert Moon was on MTV and VH1 at the same time. They're released at the same time. So I thought, okay, Jules. So I do the demo. I send it to him. I don't know him. Never met him. No connection. I sent it to his business manager. He didn't have a manager. He hadn't been doing music 6, 7 years. I just sent it. I didn't think I'd get a response. He writes back, be honored to do it. What? Okay. I figure it's some kind of universal karma, right? Began with his dad's band. Last song ends with him. Is this beautiful? Is this a beautiful story?
Absolutely.
We meet in New York. Hey, good to see you, blah, blah, blah. We spend about 4 or 5 hours together. He sings. I go home. I match him. I mix the record. That's what happened.
Just like you just, were you nervous? I can't imagine you get nervous, but because of the memories and what the Beatles mean to you, were you nervous with him?
Not that way. I was apprehensive and so fixated on not talking about his dad or the Beatles, because here's a kid who has had that mantle hang over his head, since he took breath. And so I only mentioned the Beatles once in regards to what precipitated me to write the song by telling him that story I just told you. But I never mentioned his dad. Didn't bring it up.
Really?
And if you saw it to the Good Old Days video, have you seen
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
You see at the end there's a picture of him and his mom. Watch at the very end. There's a picture of him and his mom.
Okay.
He signed it for me. He offered me 3 pictures to choose from, and the other 2 involved his father. And I said, I like this one. I told him it was him and his mom.
Wow.
Because the last thing I wanted was for him to think, because it wouldn't have been true, because he does have a brother. Seems like a lovely lad. I called Jules. I didn't want him to think, of course the connection was his father. But I didn't want him to feel that this was all about his dad, because I would not put a picture of John Lennon on my video unless he said to me, use this one.
Right.
That he said, you choose.
All right, now you gotta go back and watch the video. Now you gotta go back and watch the video again and look at some of there's so many clips you wind up pausing it and looking at the photos and stuff and trying to figure out where, I almost want you to put like underneath, there's gotta be some sort of companion to that video so I know all those shots where if you can tell like backstories there.
Go back and watch it again. There are some.
There are some in there.
Not all of them. What I'm going to do is, because I have my own YouTube channel, that I tell you that Disney and Netflix are very, very, they're worried about my YouTube channel, and I think I've already got an offer as a buyout from Disney.
Nice. Okay.
So anyway, I'm going to explain the video in about a month.
Good. Okay, do that.
I'll send it to you.
And we'll tag you on something that was sent to us you'll appreciate. Glenn Frey's from here in Detroit and went to high school. One of our listeners, when Glenn passed, sent us a video of Glenn when he was 16 playing in her garage for her senior. He was 16, she was 18. We don't have sound, but it's a skinny, tall Glenn Frey doing Shout. She's pretty sure he did the Isley Brothers. And you will appreciate that because it's the same kind of grainy 8mm thing, and people just love seeing a young Glenn Frey. And that's what's so cool about your video is we get to see all these photos that we've never seen before.
Yeah, and I hope you watch it. 2020 plays at the end of that video. 80-20. Did you watch it that long?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the Panazzos, the 3 of us with our tuxedos on and our bow tie. We're smiling, because we're going to go play a wedding. That's what we were doing. So I dug all those photos up. I hadn't talked to Chuck Panazzo in 20 years. And John, Chuck, and I, we were just in a band. If you see that video, we were together there at every one of my daughter's birthday parties. We're together all the time because we were friends. And so I asked Chuck, I wrote him an email and said, can I use your image? And he said, absolutely. So I sent him the video, and he wrote back how much he liked it. And I signed, when I said, sign mine, love Dennis. And he wrote back and said, love Chuck and John.
See, there you go. That's the good stuff.
That's what we meant to each other.
That's the good stuff. I don't want to focus on all the fighting and all the other crap. And I haven't brought up Mr. Roboto because, dear God, we've beat that to death over the years. And I do have to ask a question, though. My co-host Aaron wanted to ask something. Come Sail Away is biblical in reference. Is that right? Is that true, or is that one of those urban legends?
Who said this?
Aaron was asking me, my co-host, that she'd always heard that Come Sail Away was from the book. She texted me, the book of Ezekiel, I think. Have you ever heard that reference?
Nick and I never got along. I've never heard that in my life.
Okay. Yeah, someone said it was like a biblical thing, that you had written a whole biblical thing about it.
Gathering of angels appeared above my head. They sang to me this song of hope. This is what they said. But that was never. I never read the Bible. I was a Catholic. We didn't need to do that. We knew we had better connections to God, apparently.
Yeah, you paid somebody every Sunday to do it for you.
Yeah, there was incense involved.
Whoa. Okay.
So no, I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
Aaron, Aaron is? Did you say?
Yeah, Aaron. Yeah.
Where is this person?
We're trying to get her hooked up right now. We're trying to patch her in here. But yeah, it's a long story involving crappy internet.
How old is she?
Younger than us.
Yeah.
And a huge fan of yours.
I appreciate that. It might be the drug she's taking. Anyway, here's what I would say. Come Sail Away is a song about yearning to be in a better place. That's what it is. Whether you go on a boat by yourself and you're the captain, whether you're swept up to heaven by angels or space aliens that come and take you on a starship, there's the desire to come sail away. There's where I need to go, because that's the Virgin Sea is going to take me to that place that I need to be.
Nice. All right. Dennis DeYoung, 26 East, Volume 1, available next Friday. DennisDeYoung.com. The new YouTube channel's up. You're answering your own stuff on Facebook. You're not done. You're going to tour. You're not done. You're not done.
No, I'm not done. I'm waiting, like everybody else is.
Good.
Somebody look out the window. Oh, it doesn't look good. Back in you go.
You scared us, though, because we realized things like this is Dennis's final recordings. I'm like, no, we're not done. When the muse hits, the muse hits, right?
Here's what I do. My big move when I'm off the road is my wife and I, Law and Order reruns and pizza. That's good for me. I'm happy like this.
You're happy?
This is what do I need? I know millions of people really love me in their own way. I see it. And I think to myself, well, it's a grand illusion. I'm just a kid with an accordion.
You're the best. Dennis DeYoung, man, we love you here in the Motor City and appreciate the time. And you stay healthy, stay safe, give your best to everybody in the family, and we will see you here soon. We promise, okay?
Thanks, Jim, for a very, very articulate interview.
Well, I like to speak goodly. That's the key to all that.
Well, the best is it to you.
Dennis DeYoung, God bless you, sir. Thank you, bud.
All right.